a lot of us are UX, UI, CX, meaning user experience, user interface, customer experience. A lot of different words when sometimes people thinking that all refers to the same, but actually there is the interface, how we are presenting the things, and there is the UX, which is how actually the users are going to use what we're providing them. So after we got feedback from our customers, with the voting process that we have with our customers that voted to provide them a new user interface, we went into this very dramatic, I think, journey, and we created a new team for Primo, which is the user experience team. We hired a designer that's I hope that he's great. I love what he's working. I think that he's doing amazing work. And we started by starting to think what we need to do and what is going to guide us. So what I'll show you is we'll start with really why we are doing it. Then I'll show you the principles themselves. Then I'm going to talk really shortly about accessibility and how we are going to handle it with the user experience. And then I'll show you the actual design and what we are going to present to our users in 2 weeks from now. So when we understood that we do need to go to a new user interface to provide better experience for our users, we knew that it's not only that the technology was dramatically changed from the last time that we did a major change to our UI, which was, I think, 6 years ago. We did the latest major change for Primo UI. So everything is changed. Everyone is using mobile. We behave different with our mobile, and therefore we also behave different in our desktops. But it's not only that things are dramatically changed from 6 years from now. Everything is much, much faster. So we know that now it's a long process to go and change the interface, but we must verify that we're going to give solution that if in 2 years everyone is going to talk about wearable devices, for example, we need to be able to fast to move to the new technologies. So now part of the project that we are doing is not only to change the style of the UI, it's really to change the infrastructure and change everything to allow us to be much faster, because we know that there is a huge community of open source that really react very fast to the changes of the user behaviors. And the fact that they're changing and giving them better experience makes the expectation of our users much higher. And not only this, they are expecting us to be much faster and give them always the latest technologies. So when we had to make the decision what is going to guide us, we made a decision that those are the 5. We did a lot of research starting 2014. We asked a lot of end users, because usually we used to get the feedback from the library staff and from the librarian, and sometimes from the faculty members, but not too much from the users themselves. And this is something that we are doing actually for the users. So we had a lot of interviews with users. We asked them how they are accessing the system, why they are accessing the system. We try to build the personas that are coming, what their targets. We also ask them what annoys you when you're going to the system. And we try to build what is the most important things for us. So the first principle is to have one experience across devices. This is something that we got both from the end users, but also I heard a lot of librarians, they describe me how the users are coming with their mobile phones in their hands, pointing on the screen of the mobile saying, I need this. So we want to provide them full experience, not only finding, but also the get it option to have everything from their mobiles. The second is intuitive design, simplified task. Primo is a mature product, and we have a lot of features, and adding more and more features makes the interface a bit more complicated and a bit harder to orient with. So we want to verify that we provide a better interface that allows us also to add more and more features in the future without harm the clean and the intuitive design. Action-oriented, we'll go a bit deeper into it, but we know that we need to understand what the main targets that our user has when they are coming to the system, and we want to help them get it as fast as they can. The last two are personalization and the serendipity. Those two, they are not that general in web design, but those are two of the main principles that we find for discovery in general. So we must verify and identify how we are going to address them with the new UI. I will describe a bit about the features that we have today for personalization and serendipity. Unfortunately, I don't have much to show you with the mock-up because this is a concept that we are really thinking a lot and we are still designing it. But this is definitely something that we need to take from the current user interface because we have really good features mostly for exploration and now for personalization that we need to see how we are going to leverage now with the new user interface. So the first pillar is one experience across devices. I love this slide, and I think maybe a lot of you already saw it because it just said that 2014 was actually a dramatic year. This is not coming from the academic world, but in general, from 2014, we have more mobile users than desktop users in most of the web applications. So, as I wrote here, mobile is the new black. We must verify that we support it. It's becoming more and more useful. We see a lot of logs. We are analyzing a lot of logs. We have a lot of analytics around it, and we really see the growth. I can't say that it's in the academic world more or even, I think, close to 50%, but we definitely know that this is the trend. We're going to see the same trend also for the end users, with the end users, sorry. So what does it actually mean for us, one experience? What does it mean for us when we are designing? So we had to identify what are the most important functionality that we have, because each piece of information, every button on the screen must earn its place, meaning it's not there just because this is how we designed it. There needs to be a reason why it's placed there, because the mobile screen, even though it's responsive design, it's supposed to cover everything, but there is nothing we can do. It's smaller screens. So we must verify that with the design, we find the most important features, and they are going to be the prominent and the one that the users are going to see immediately on the screen. Also, we want to give the users more, let's say, fun mobile experience. So to adjust the buttons, I'll show you in a second. I admit some people like it, some less. But for example, we had for the favorites a button that it's really a mobile feeling, even in the desktop, because still now they're using the same way mobiles and desktop. And then we want to see how we're going to leverage all the personalization, the fact that the mobile is personal device, so to have much more personalized experience. So we had a lot of discussion around how to handle mobile, whether to go to native or to go to responsive design. What you're going to see now is actually the responsive design, meaning we have the same application. It's one web application that is going to be resizable per the size of the screen, per the resolution of the screen. So it's not different applications, it's same applications, same configuration. And also, what I think is the most important, same feeling for the users. They don't need to go and learn new system now. So the second principle is the intuitive design to simplify tasks. This is intuitive design. It's very general. Everyone wants to have intuitive. But what we want our users, we want them to have clean look and feel. We are saving every white space on the screen. We are saving it. We are fighting for it. Our designer is really fighting for it. Sometimes we even find that I'm saying something like, okay, but we must have the name of the user here. And he was like, no, we need to have empty spaces. So again, we need to verify that everything that is presented is the screen has a reason. So we have the names of the users, don't worry, but we are really making sure that everything is relevant and important. Digestible, we want them to be able to, in one look on the screen, this is the same for the glanceability. One look at the screen, they need to understand what they are seeing, what is the thing that they need expected from them to perform now. And the way we are doing it is gradual exposure. The idea of gradual exposure, again, it means that you have on the screen only what is relevant for you in the current step. So the major thing that we did in order to make it more clean is to remove, till now we used to have the tabs. For all the available services that we have for every record, we used to have a lot of tabs display in the brief results. So the first thing that we did was to eliminate those, because we know that the first action that the user needs to perform once he performed the search is to find the relevant item. So in order to find the relevant item, he don't need to see already all the options for the specific item. Once he recognizes what is the item that he wants, he needs, only then he's going to get more information about this item. So this is, for example, one of the examples that we did. So what does it mean for us? What we had to do? We had to identify what is the relevant data on every step. We did it, we tried to, from the personas that we created, we tried to create the flows and to build the scenarios and understand how the users are actually going to perform their actions. Display relevant services only, minimize tabs and drop downs. You can see here that in the search box, it's very clean, it's very minimal. We used to have, in the current UI, we have tabs and we have drop downs, but going into the logs, we saw that users are actually usually going to go to the default tab or the default scope. So we try to combine both of them and provide one option of drop down for the search scopes. And again, to make it easier for the end users. Consistent view, again, this comes with intuitive design. We don't want them, every step that they are doing, to learn again the system from scratch. Meaning if they are going to the favorite page, it can't have totally different look than they just had in the results page. They already learned what they have in the results page, what the actions that are available for them, and we need to maintain the same feeling on other actions as well. They don't need to learn all the time on every page, everything from scratch. Action-oriented. Actually, first I heard the action-oriented as a phrase from a customer. That's something, okay, we don't want to start with the users doing something and then he performing another action. And at the end, he has some actions that he can perform. We need to understand from beginning what his targets. And we need to verify that it's one click away from him. One click away from him, meaning he performs a search, what his next step can be. So we tried to think and we found that the two major things that mostly the users will do is either if they came and they have some known item that they want to find, to read, to get from the library physical item. So they perform a search and then they need to get the get it or the view it option right in front of them. Other scenario is really that maybe they are in the research phase, so they need to collect their information right now. They can collect it in their favorites, they can collect it in their citation manager, some of them maybe save it in their emails, but all the options to collect the data for later on to go over it, again, must be one click away from them. More about the interactive design. This is about the action-oriented. Also, we wanted to verify that we have some indication for every action that the user performs. For example, they select to add item to the e-shelf, to the favorites. They need to understand now where is the favorites, where it goes to. And we want to make everything much more clear for them and to help them to get to the targets much faster. So again, quick access to the full text. So for the OPAC functionality, to highlight the favorite results, this you'll see in a second, and to verify that we help them fast to zoom in to find the relevant result. So personalization. This is personalization is something that it's for us it's major principle to find the way we are going to use it and have it with the new UI, but it's something that we find in general important with discovery. So the idea is that we know that we provide a lot of results. You perform a search, we got a lot of results, and everyone might want to have different items for the same query. Obviously, student from nursing, student from psychology, student from some humanic research, they might use the same phrases, but they actually want different results. So what we have in Primo, and I'll show you demo of the current UI, what we have today. The mouse will react. We try to help them. We know that today, let's do something, never mind. Perform a search. We have, you can see this small box on the side, the personalize your results. So personalize your results allows you to give some information about who are you actually, and we'll try to help you and find better results. So if I'm saying that I'm from psychology, for example, and I'm going to perform search for mental illness, then you can see that I got 800,000 results. And the first item, for example, is from Journal of Counseling Psychology. If I'm going to change my discipline and I'm saying I'm from nursing, I'm going to get the same number of results, but now the first result is from the Journal of Nurse Practitioner. So this is something that we have today, and with the new UI and with the fact that the mobile devices are personal, we must verify how we are going to save this information on the users without them needing to save every time this information. When we are talking about personalization, I heard a lot the question about, don't you think it's old-fashioned to ask them to make the selection and not going to anticipating what the users need? So I think that this is really extreme problematic area, mostly in the academic, because due to privacy issues, we can save this information. So we do want to give more, to take more data from the users themselves, but helping them and not demanding them to do it over and over again. So this is the personalization, and I'll go back. And we have some more plans to add some more features for the personalization, but again, the main idea is how we're going to improve it with the new UI, the fact that it's personal devices. Serendipity, I love this word, and I found somewhere that it says that it's pleasant surprises. So sometimes the users are searching for something, and they might find something on the way that they didn't even knew that they want. So we want to see how we can help them and how we can improve it. And when we're talking about serendipity and when we are talking about exploration, I think most of us have some picture of, in mind, at least I have it, of when I'm exploring something, I want to see everything in front of me. It must be very visualized. And today we have a lot of features for exploration, but not all of them are visualized. And for example, I'll show you in a second example with the current UI. But we have the recommendation, the BX recommendation, which is displayed as a flat list. And it gives you more than you know that you are searching, but we must find better visualization better exploration visualization for it. So this is another, let's say, big target for the new UI. Sorry. Now, I'll show you again something with the current UI. So when I'm talking about, I need to remove it. When I'm talking about personalization, I just want to give you an example of recommendation, the BX recommendation, which is something that I find as less attractive ways for exploration. It's an amazing product, great recommendation, but still the visualization of it doesn't appealing enough for the users, and you don't feel like you're exploring more resources. On the other hand, we have, if I'll go to things that are available in the library, we have the virtual browse. The virtual browse is actually features that demonstrate the same, the way the books are actually in the shelf itself, in the physical shelf. So the users can actually feel like they are now exploring and visiting the library shelves and learning more and get more information, maybe that they didn't even know, and without knowing the exact query words to put in the search box. Without exploration feature, they won't be able to find those. So I think that this is an example for something that is much more visualized, and this is something that we want also to add for in the new UI, to add also for BX and for some more exploration features that we are now adding. So those are the 5 main concepts that are guiding us. Honestly, every decision that we are making through the process, we are trying to think, and every day we have a lot of brainstorming, and we are sitting with our designer. We're verifying that every decision that we are taking is aligned with one of the concepts that are guiding us. Those are really guidelines for us. It must be clean. It must be intuitive. It must work great on the mobile devices, but it also must leverage all the discovery concepts that we find. So when we are talking about user experience, better user experience, we want to verify that we have better user experience for everyone. So when we are talking about the accessibility, we want to verify that we are going to give a user interface, user experience that from day 0 is accessible for everyone. So we are working, the whole process of the design for the new UI, we are working with beta customers, and one of them is focusing on the accessibility tests and verifying from the first demo that things are accessible. And this was also one of the consideration we took when we choose the technology that we are using, which, by the way, we are using Angular. And Angular has the NG area, which is a tool that helps us to verify already during the development that we are adding and covering all the important elements in order to provide accessible web design. So we are in the standard. It's WCAG AA, section 508. This is in North America, the standard. And those are the things that are really for when we are talking about the WCAG-AA. Those are the main 4 settings that we must verify that we are standing. The contrast ratio, the font size that increase. It doesn't mean that the font size needs to be 200%, but it just means that if you are going to resize the font to be 200, then still it needs to be readable and useful. Object focus, I outline it just the fact that I can focus it in HTML5 tags, and it's actually verifying that we are valid HTML. Here we have, this is something that it's coming from Leganto, and it's something that we are considering. We had some discussion with customers, but we thought that besides the fact that we are accessible, besides the fact that we are passing all the tests, we're going to test it, we have really dedicated people that are testing the accessibility, we wanted to add even more features. So I don't really like the names of the accessibility menu, and in the accessibility menu, the fact we have for colorblind and for heavy sites, but we do think of adding some options, for example, for extreme contrast or for black and white display for the screen, and then to provide like more themes that are better accessible for people with disabilities. So again, this is a full project that we are working in parallel in order to verify that with August release, when it's the general release, it's going to be accessible. This is just example. Those are pages from Leganto, where we provide the black and white page, high contrast. This is from Google and Leganto as well. So we are still considering whether to have it also in Primo. We have different feedbacks from different customers. This is just about the validators and tools, because we really encourage also, we are very verifying, but we know that a lot of institutions embedding the things in their homepage and the library page. So those are tools that we are using. Everything is very easy to use, and we are doing it again from the first stage of the development. We are checking that it's passing all the tests. So in order to verify that we can stand with all the principles that we decided that those are the ones that are going to guide us, and to verify that we have accessible and secured application, we had to verify that we are finding the right technology. So we knew that we need to verify that we're going to be, as I mentioned in the beginning, much faster next time. So we verify that we are going to do full separation from the client side to the server side. This means that we are having client-side framework that is working only with APIs with the server. So next time, or in 2 years from now, if there is going to be new amazing client-side frameworks, it's going to be much easier for us to work with it, because we'll need to change the client side, but ideally we just need to use the same APIs and do nothing on the server side. So now we have a lot of work in order to verify that this is really clear-cut between them, and later, once we'll finalize the new UI and we will release it, we will also share with our customers the full set of the REST APIs that we are working with. So we are working with client-side application. We are using Angular JS. We're actually using even a library inside it called JavaScript Angular Material Design, which is providing us really a lot of elements on the screen that are already accessible and already passed a lot of tests, and it's really easy to change them and modify them. And it makes us to be faster in the design of the client side itself. So when we decided to go with single-page application, this is actually meant, for example, that it's a single-page application. Single-page application means that everything is being loaded on the first load of the page. So sometimes the first loading might be a bit slower, but everything afterward is much faster. Much faster. But also it meant that we have what is known today from a lot of sites, the endless scrolling, the infinite scrolling. So we no longer have the pagination, and we had a lot of discussions here whether it's good to our user, are we sure that this is the right approach, and we thought again after a lot of discussion that yes, this is the right approach to go with, but we need to verify that we are helping them in order to find their orientation on the screen. So again, I'll show you in a minute how we, for example, implemented the favorites in order to highlight the important records for them and to have it easier and more prominent on the screen so they can easily identify them if they are scrolling. Now I'll go straight to the demo. I hope that this is, yeah. So, you'll excuse me, I want to close it. So this is just a mock-up. I'll open here another. So this is a mock-up, and this is actually a live environment. So everything that I'm showing you in the mock-up, it's just because we have some features that we haven't got yet, or they're not perfectly fine-tuned, but everything is actually working. And as I mentioned before, in February, our customers are already going to see it in their environment. So this is the new Primo, much cleaner, no tabs. Only once you make the selection, which is the relevant item for you, you click on it, and you're getting the full information that you have on it. Here you see the full page. We are going to add here next to the thumbnails, small shortcuts to show all the services that are available here. Because here in the demo, I only have the send to, the get it, the details, but obviously we might have much more services here. Recommendations and view online. So we want, again, to help the user to know in one glance on the screen what are the options that he has in front of him. Another thing that we just saw is that with one click, the first thing that is in front of him is the get it option. So again, talking about the one-click distance, one click, you found it, now you can get it. Same for if you are in the research phase. You find the item, but you want to save it to your favorites. So you click on it, it's on your favorites. Also, all the action menus that we used to have under the details are now in the results list already. So if you want to email it, if you want to use any citation manager, it's already in the results list. No need to go to the full details, and you can go and collect the full information that you need for your research. We did a lot of change also in order to verify that we no longer have a lot of pop-ups and different screens that opens in front of you, and we have one consistent display for everything. You can see here, this is one example, copy to clipboard. We're trying also to help them to reduce clicks. It always sounds to me funny when I'm saying we need to verify that we have less clicks, because 6 years ago when we wrote the current UI, scrolling sounds something bad. We didn't want to have scrolling on the screen, just clicks. But today, mostly because of the mobiles, we used to do scrolling. So we want to have as less clicks as possible. We also added here those two options that are configurable if you want to have direct link already to open the email. Here we see the facets where they are on the right side, but they can also be on the left side. Clicking on facets, going to filter, I can exclude facets from the same place. I can sort, obviously, the result list. It's an endless scrolling, no pagination. It's keep getting more and more results. And if I selected the item and I added them to the favorites, and I'll show it to you here because, oops, I have a mistake here. The did you mean is not implemented yet. If I'm adding item to the favorites, it's going to be highlighted in yellow because, again, we want to help them to see very prominent the items that are important for them. And after I added those to my favorites, if I go here with this nice mobile button, I'm going to have the same display. The same information as I had to my result list is now available in my favorites. Before we used to have table with partial information, but today it's the same records, the same information on the records is also in the favorites. You have the real-time availability. You can click on an item and get the same, obviously, full results. Also, we change a bit the way we are thinking about the folders, because we used to have folders where you can add subfolders, but since we want to maintain the same feeling and better experience for the users, we now switch to use labels. So they can easily add labels, connect to labels, and filter by labels in the same way they are filtering their facets. So everything, again, is very familiar for the users. They can obviously perform actions on bulk, meaning on more than one item. All the actions are available. unfortunately, the toolbar is not presented in the mock-up. So now another screen that we did a major change is My Library Card, because when we are talking about intuitive design, easy to use for the users, it's not only the discovery. We must verify that we provide them one interface that gives them the full function that they need to fulfill. So if they need to get items, they need to get the information and all the available options for them and the request types, everything needs to be in the same display. They don't want to jump between different applications, between different interfaces. So we did also major change to the My Library Card, and we tried to verify that they have all the relevant information, and again, the glanceability and the fact that they can see it immediately. So we created a new page, an overview page, where they have short list of the loans, requests, fines and fees, and the messages, and all the important features is available already here. Because we're thinking, okay, the users, when they're going to the library card, first thing, they want to verify that they are not going to get any fines. So the first action that they can perform is renew all. If I click on the renew all, then I'm going to go to the loans list. I'm going to get the full information, but I can do it already from the overview page. Another thing that we added here, you can see here those small icons. So they are more than just nice design. They came to help the users to verify if they have loans that are closed or past their due dates. It's going to appear only in those cases. Same for the request. We're going to see this green bell only if there are items that they asked, that they request, and now the items are available in the library. Or we won't see this sign if they don't have fines and fees. And later, what we want to do is to take those small icons and present them already in the first page, in the search page, and they'll see near the user area. They'll see that they need to go to the library card and maybe resolve their fines or renew some items. So again, we are trying to make their life as easier as we can. If I click now on one of the items of the loans, you see it's yellow for a few seconds just to help them to find the right place on the screen. It's already open, it's expanded. We have all the configuration that we have today with the current UI is also affecting the new UI, so we are not removing any flexibility, just adding them all. Expand, collapse, they can renew it also from here. They have different kind of sorts. Same for the request. In the loans, they have the current loans, and they also have all the historic loans in the same look and feel, the fines and fees. And we have the personal details where they can edit all their information, all the details, and update the ILS. Discard. So this is really in high level showing you some of our new UI and the changes and what guided us in order to do it. You can find much more information. We have white paper that describing the core principles for the new UI. You are more than welcome to read it. And now we'll have time for questions.
So, Mary, thank you very much for that comprehensive introduction to Primo's new user interface. So far, I have two questions. Just before we start with those, I will just once again invite anybody who has a question to either use the chat facility or to use the question and answer functionality to send these to us. So we're more than happy to receive your questions and to attempt to answer them as well. So Mary, let me start with the two questions that we did receive during your session. The first one is, would it be possible to customize the new user interface?
Yes, it is. So we tried, before we started the design, we went over a lot of sites. Primo is very flexible and everyone is doing different branding and different styling for the interface. We did a lot of research in order to analyze and find what most of our users are doing, and we tried to reflect everything in the new UI. Changes that a lot of customers did, we implemented with the new UI, but still we understand how important it's the flexibility, and we really know that every library has its different needs. So we took it as a requirement that we are not going to eliminate any flexibility that we have today. So we are working and we're going to provide customization package, and the customization package is actually providing even more flexibility than we have today. And I think that the developers are going to love what we're going to provide them, because we're giving them great tools to change everything on the screen with easy to maintain and verify that upgrades are not going to harm those customization.
That's great, Mary. Thank you very much for the answer to that question. It's interesting that you mentioned developers, because I guess that the second question actually came from a developer. That question is, do we have any plans to provide native application?
Okay. So native application, I mean, whether we want to create application where you need to go to the App Store or to the Google Store and download the application, which has a lot of benefits because it can work offline and it's working perfectly on every device with all the mobile features. But we are not going to give a native application because we see how the technology for the HTML5 is getting more and more strong, and we're getting more of those capabilities that till now were only if you develop native application, and now they are also available with HTML5. And actually it's maybe coming with the previous question, but because we know that our customers needs and want to do all this customization and all this branding, we think it's going to be very hard to maintain two different applications. So we have only one responsive design, and actually I think that 1 year after we made the decision, we are even happier with this decision because we see that this is where everyone is going today.
Thank you. That surely makes sense. So there is one other question that's come in so far. What sort options are there for results other than relevance?
Sort, we have, you can sort by author and you can sort by creation date.
Okay, great. Thank you. At the moment,
sorry, I forgot popularity.
At the moment, I don't see any other questions. Let's just wait a few moments, just in case anybody does have any questions. We have many, many attendees online, actually, so that's good. So we'll just wait a minute or so. So we have a question, which is, can you demonstrate the responsive ability of the current prototype?
I needed to call it, to read it again.
So the attendee is asking, can we demonstrate the responsive ability of the current prototype?
Yes, I can show you. We don't have... we don't have all the features designed for mobile, and I explain what I'm saying. Everything is responsive, meaning the search box is going to be smaller and bigger. But obviously it's not enough just to verify that it's going to be resizable, because again, the mobile is smaller, so we need to verify how and what is the design that we're giving them. So if I'm going now, if I'll switch to mobile size, and I don't know if everyone is aware to the F12 button that we have for Chrome, where we can try to see different kinds of devices, the portrait, how we're seeing it with keyboard and without. And you can see that without doing anything for the results themselves, okay, for the brief result, because we didn't design it yet. This is something that we are working now for the next May release. you can see that everything is resizable, and you see less information, and it's smaller, and it's wrapping this way. But for example, what we did is for the facets, we added the design, so the tweak your results option is now in the bottom of the page. You can click here, you can close it. We have the same for the main menu. All the options are available here. Those are the sign-in, select language, and my library card. So all the things that we saw before on the top, those are already designed and implemented with February release. Finalizing mobile is part of the task for May.
That's great, Mary. Thank you very much. So I have another question. Is it possible to create an advanced search, searching in specific fields, for example, language code?
Yes. So what we are doing, unfortunately, I don't have it in the demo. We used to have, but since we are now we're rethinking the solution we gave for the advanced search, we are now redesigning it. We're going to have an advanced search option, which is going actually to be even more than what we present today, with all the options that you can filter by. But also we want to see how we embedding the browse functionality into the advanced search. So this is something that we are now designing, and this is part of the general release in August.
Okay, thank you, Mary. And I think your last comment, in fact, maybe answered the next question, which is, when will this be available? When will the new user interface for Primo be available? Okay,
so just briefly, the timelines. In the coming release in February, we are opening it to all. Open to all means that just by switching the URL, they can go from the current UI and see how their configuration is going to be reflected with the new UI. In May release, we are adding more features and more improvement, and with August release, this is the general release. So from this phase and ongoing, people can go with the new UI, and this is the timeline.
Great, thank you. So I don't see any other questions. We haven't received any other questions at this stage. So Mary, to you, I just want to say thank you very much for your great presentation. I'm sure that everybody is excited and looking forward to the new Primo user interface. And to all of our attendees, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for spending the time with us this afternoon to allow us to share this with you. If you have any further questions, then you're of course welcome to ask them, and we will try to address them. And in due course, we'll send the recording of the webinar as well. So thank you very much for your attention, participation. I wish you a great rest of the day,